Greetings indie game fans, welcome back to I Dream of Indie. This is Ole Gamer Joe here with another review for you today as we look at Hijo, a Wild West tale on the Steam PC platform, released as of December 3rd of 2020, developed by Honig Studios and Quantum Frog, and published by Handy Games. This game is currently at a promotional discount of $17.99. Normally the game is priced at $19.99, also available on Stadia and Good Old Games. There's two questions you should ask yourself before you decide whether or not you want to play Hijo. Do you like Western settings, and do you like stealth games? If you happen to like the marriage of those two things, Hijo is probably the game for you. Peacefully living out their lives together, a mother and her son Hijo, as you'll play as in this game, a young 6-year-old boy, are attacked by bandits one day. Unfortunately, this results in them having to flee, and the mother decides that it's best for Hijo to be left behind in the monastery where they can take care of him and he'll be out of danger. Being a young boy with his entire life in front of him, however, Hijo decides that I don't really want to live in this monastery, so I'm going to get the heck out of here, and that sets off a greater adventure which relies on you using a lot of stealth in order to escape. If you're hoping for a lot of brutal stealth kills and violent weaponry, you're not really going to find that in Hijo, as you'll mostly be relying on your slingshot and a few other gadgets that you'll collect along the way. You use this slingshot to strategically distract enemies and get them out of your line of sight. You're able to see from a bird's eye view if you so wish, and this will show you the radius of which your foes can see you. Some areas of cover will also allow you to press right up against the wall and kind of creep your way around without being noticed that way. So there's a few different elements of stealth here, but for the most part the goal is the same, either distract your enemy and get around them, or don't be seen at all. It can be fun to experiment with both the slingshot and other gadgets like a wind-up toy, which can also lure enemies out, but unfortunately the AI is not always the brightest in this game, so sometimes it was a matter of me just being spotted, they would chase me for a bit, and eventually get bored and I was able to get around them that way. In other instances, it can look like you're right in the sight of enemies despite the fact that they're not doing anything, so I do think the AI could have used a little bit of tweaking here, but it's actually not a huge deal, and more often than not I still found myself messing up and getting caught. Thankfully, Hijo does feature plenty of checkpoints represented as little blue lights across the screen. As you progress forward, you'll run into these and you'll leave right off from there should you get caught. No real penalty whatsoever, so it's just a matter of learning the patterns and getting your way through. It's not a really difficult game, but it's going to require a little bit of trial and error and messing around. One other little annoyance that I would come across from time to time in terms of gameplay was that if I got hitched on a wall or a corner wrong, it did slow me up a bit, and I thought that that was a little bit unfair and led to me getting caught a few times where maybe I should have gotten away. So that's also a little bit of a disappointment, but on the whole, the stealth mechanics are pretty entertaining here. I enjoyed messing around with the slingshot in particular, and the gadgets are fun and easy enough to use. Everything controls just fine. Occasionally across your journey, you will also encounter a puzzle from time to time. Most of these involve pushing a block out of the way or maybe moving a ladder, but they're not overly difficult. They do add a little bit of freshness to the stealth gameplay. One last thing I want to touch on, and then I promise I'll move on to the graphics, is the fact that you can inspire children across the world of Hijo. You interact with them, and sometimes they're right in your path, sometimes you have to go off the path a little bit in order to find them, but there are over 60 to collect if you so wish. Nice little bonus content. Alright, as for those graphics, Hijo's not a bad looking game, has a good cartoon aesthetic to it, animations are pretty nice for the most part, and it's fairly colorful. You will explore a pretty decent variety of different areas. This is only a 6 to 7 hour journey or so, depending on your skill level. It might be a little more, it might be a little less, but overall I think it does a good job of mixing things up. I think that everything animates and looks quite pleasant to the eye. I wasn't blown away, and I was a little bit disappointed with the fact that there aren't really any customizable PC options here outside of changing the resolution, but still pleasant enough, didn't blow me away, but a decent aesthetic. I didn't find too much memorable about the soundtrack or the sound effects, to be honest with you. I think there are a few little grunts that are entertaining from some of the non-playable characters that try to catch you, but for the most part, nothing too memorable in the soundtrack. It's probably about what you would expect, but it doesn't try to excel in any meaningful way. Some sort of Western vibes going on here, but I certainly wasn't humming along to any of these tunes. They weren't infectious to me anyways in any meaningful way, but they got the job done. Overall, I was more a fan of the graphical look of this game than how it actually sounds. I think that at the end of the day, your enjoyment of Hijo is going to hinge on your tolerance for stealth games. If you really like them a lot, Hijo nails a lot of the fundamentals quite well. It's an entertaining tale. The story's not first and foremost here. The stealth really does steal the show. There are some entertaining ways to manipulate the AI, though honestly, again, the AI is a little bit dumb at times. If you are seeking out a story with a pretty good-sized heart and you really like stealth in your games, then maybe give Hijo a slingshot. So will you be checking out El Hijo? Let us know in the comments section below, and if you have enjoyed our video coverage today, consider hitting that subscribe button today. It helps us to bring a voice to the voiceless ones in gaming. There are so many other ways you can support I Dream of Indie. Check out the description box below. We have a merchandise store, and we also offer memberships, but however you end up supporting us, thank you so much.